Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news. Sorry a little bit late this morning, but there was another bit of news coming in, so you get the benefit of me being 5 minutes late because we get a little bit more news about a centre-back that's on loan with Fulham at the moment that apparently Manchester United are very interested in. This is coming via Sport Witness. But we'll talk about that in a minute because the main story we're going to talk about is the advanced talks with VARANE, which is breaking this morning. Raphael Varane to Manchester United. Also got a few things I want to talk about. Man City's treble bid and what we should be worried about that and why we should be worried about that. Also Erling Haaland and Jude Bellingham. The Dortmund going out last night has big ramifications potentially for Manchester United. Cavani updates, Lingard updates as well. So lots to get involved with. As you can see, we've got the Flick app. The link is in the video description. It's free to download on Apple and Android. The United Stand. It's basically a little bit of an app for the United Stand, really. So we have daily conversations on there. But 24/7 people are chatting away. I put a poll on there this morning. Which centre-back will Manchester United buy? Get voting for that. We'll use it later on in the show, what you're saying. There are a few options there. Links in the video description. If you've already got Flick, get on there. If you haven't, download it. It's free on Apple and Android, like I say. And it's a place where you can converge as United Stand fans and be chatting away throughout the day when we're not live. So link in the video description for that. And do cast your vote for the centre-back, and I'll talk about that later in the show. But let's start off with Varane. Chris Pankhurst says Varane 100%. The first thing I'm going to say is it's game day. I'm looking forward to the game tonight. Let's not forget that. We're not definitely through. We've got a few players out, so I'm excited for the game tonight to see what changes Ollie makes. And hopefully we're going to see Twansebi, and for me that's exciting in itself. But that is the key position for United, centre-back. Now, if I could have my number one choice, it's going to be Raphael Varane. That's who it's going to be. He's the number one choice. I've thought about it a lot over the last few weeks, but I do like Koundé. But Varane would be the number one choice. What is he, 28? He's won 3 Champions Leagues in a row. He's won a World Cup. I have to laugh when people say he's not that good. Ramos compensates for him. And yet we know our centre-backs aren't world class. They're not. We don't have a world class centre back at Manchester United, and Varane falls into the top 5 centre backs in the world. So you can think he's a bit shaky, you can think he makes mistakes, but I would argue with anybody that he's categorically, factually, and is one of the top 5 centre backs in the world. So I would take him at Manchester United. I think Varane and Ramos would be a fantastic partnership. So what's the news coming out this morning? Well, it's coming from a Twitter account at 10 Jose Alvarez, who I think works. I can never pronounce the outlet that he works for. But I did read this morning that not only, that he was one of the first people to mention the Hazard to Madrid story. So he could have good connections there. What he's basically saying is that Manchester United are in advanced talks with Real Madrid's Raphael Varane about a deal. He's a priority for Manchester United, a high priority, and that Real Madrid have accepted that he won't be staying at Real Madrid. Now, he's got 1 year left on his contract. What I'm going to say here, and I'm going to say it totally and utterly happily, is that Manchester United Football Club, Ed Woodward, Matt Judge, the other guys, you are incompetent. You won't be able to do this deal. You are useless. You absolutely will not get this deal done. If you get this deal done, I think I and many other people would applaud you as getting a number one target at centre-back. But you can't do it because the last 8 years have proven that you're incompetent. You can't do it. You won't do it. I don't believe you're going to do it because you're incompetent. That's totally and utterly. I'm trying to mock them. I'm trying to rile them. I'm trying to make them prove us wrong, because I would be over the moon if they brought Varane in. Who knows what other transfer business will do, but the reality is we do need a centre-back, we do need a CDM, we do need a right winger, we do need another right back. But if we get a centre-back and it's a first-choice centre-back, I and you cannot complain about that. We can keep moaning about the last 8 years because they've not been great, but I always believe in second chances, and with this lot it's probably their 9th chance. But the reality is, if they brought Varane in that centre-back position, he is exactly... I can't argue with that. And I think Liverpool would look at that, and Man City would look at that, and everybody in the Premier League would look at that, and across Europe, and go, what a good signing that is for Manchester United. And I don't think we'll do it for the reasons I've just said, but I can't... If we do that, I can only go... I won't do that face, but I can just go... smiley face. I don't know what it's like to smile about Man United signings, actually. So it hurts. I need to get those muscles back. But no, I would applaud it because it's a number one. Everyone would be jealous of it, and he's exactly what we need. And also, it's a good business deal because he's got 1 year left on his contract. What do you think about Jude Bellingham last night? What a player. Well, I'm going to talk about Jude Bellingham, Craig Allen in a minute because I think that's a bit of a negative thing to talk about. But no, I think if Man United signed Varane, absolutely fantastic. Super signing. I don't think we're going to do it. And the reason I don't think we're going to do it is because I'm very negative about Manchester United's transfer policy and I think we're bloody useless. I gave up on them after the Sancho thing. It was there on a plate and they ruined it. So I don't believe we're signing players of that quality until they're holding up a shirt. And I don't think Varane will be holding up a Manchester United shirt. I think it'd be a great move for him. I think it'd be a great move for us. And I think that he'd be absolutely perfect. And we could get that. If we bought Varane in and you've got Varane, Maguire, Shaw and Wan-Bissaka as your back four, you've got something to build out there for the next 3 years. I'd be very happy with that back four. And it would make us more solid and it would free us up further up the pitch. So I would love us to do it. It can be done. I don't believe we will do it. Real Madrid apparently want 70 million euros and nothing less. I mean, this is a good contrast here because the situation with Pogba and Varane is absolutely the same. They're both got 1 year left on their contract, and yet Real Madrid are saying they want 70 million euros for a player with 1 year left on his contract, and United are apparently going to struggle to get 30 for Pogba. How is that any different? What is the situation that's different? They've both got 1 year left on their contract. If anything, Pogba should be worth more because he's a midfielder and attackers are worth more than centre-backs, and yet Real Madrid think they're going to get 60 odd million for Varane and United are terrified that they won't even get 30. So how is that any different? Well, I'll tell you how it's different because one club is competent at running transfers and the other one is bloody useless. And also Varane's not owned by Mino Raiola, is he? So there is a situation there that Manchester United can do a deal. You could even look at a swap deal if you want to, but the deal can be done. Do I believe we're in advanced talks with Varane? No. Do I think Manchester United would love to sign Varane? Yes, we've been interested in Varane for a decade. The challenge is now for Manchester United to get that deal done. I personally don't think we can do it. I'm mocking the club. I'm riling them up. I'm antagonising them. I am saying you are not good enough to do that. But what I will say is if you do it, I will applaud you and everyone else will. But I don't think you are capable of doing that deal. And I also would go further to say that I think if Varane was available for 60 million and Pau Torres was available for 40 million, you'd buy Pau Torres to save 20 million, which again, just is what this football club's become, incompetent. So come on, prove us wrong. You are in a position of incompetency at the moment in relation to transfers. I don't give Woodward or anybody else any credit in relation to what Solskjaer and the players do on the pitch. They didn't do a good last window. Many of us predicted United wouldn't get top four. Solskjaer's got us top four. So he's done that despite the board. You are incompetent. Prove your competency. Solskjaer has proved competency this season. He's exceeded expectation. Whether you like the football or not, Solskjaer has exceeded expectation this season. The board, you haven't had a good summer in years. This is your opportunity this summer. Show some competence. Show some competence like Ollie has. Go and get Varane. Go and get Declan Rice. I challenge you. Let's see what you get. Let's see what we end up with. Because my expectations are low. Very low. But you can be applauded this summer. You know, we could come out of this summer and say, you know what, they've been bad, but they've made changes and they've backed the manager and they've brought the right players in. It's definitely, this summer is huge and it's definitely over to the board and they can win people back or they can be what people perceive them to be. If you were to bet on it, who is surely coming to United, says Amit. Look, I saw Flex having a picture with Tyrone Mings yesterday. I said, please don't talk about Man United. I mean, nothing against the lad, but we need better than that. Mark, playing devil's advocate, which is hard with this lot, but even if Ed and Co were best football transfer people, Glazers won't give the cash, so what can you do, says Andy and Bruno. Well, you know, you raise a good point there. You raise a good point. But we did have money last summer and we have got money this summer and we've certainly got enough to get a player like that in. Here we go. Squaremore says, I feel like Dortmund are going to be like Monaco in a years with all these young players possibly leaving. Well, there are a few things I want to talk about. Let's bring this in actually. So we've spoken about Rafael Varane there. Just very quickly before I talk about Dortmund, because I want to talk about Haaland, Bellingham and Sancho. But interestingly, just before I came live, Sport Witness, I don't know who they were saying it via, but they're saying that Manchester United are very interested in Joachim Anderson, who is on loan from Lyon to Fulham at the moment. I mentioned this, I've not even deep dived into this at all, but I mean this to me again is almost terrifying that we're in advanced talks with Varane, but now we're very interested in Joachim Anderson. Or Joachim. Well, I can't pronounce his first name, but he's on loan at Fulham. from Lyon, and he's not been too bad from what I've seen of him. But Varane, Anderson, and this is the thing, you get that and then you get this, and this is why I do not believe United will get that, and that's more likely because it's high hanging fruit and it's the fruit on the floor, and I don't think that he is anywhere near good enough. I mean, you lose Eric Bailly and you get him. Eric Bailly's better, so that's the sort of signing that terrifies me, and that's the sort of signing I expect United to do. And we've done these sort of signings a lot. I mean, in all fairness, Lindelof looked like a decent signing, but it wasn't a top-class centre-back, was it? Same with Eric Bailly. We need to go and get top-class centre-backs here. So he's not a cheap buy from Fulham, John, because he's on loan from Lyon, but he probably would be quite cheap. Pratic says he's way better than Eric Bailly. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. I think some people just want something new and they'll take anything new. Oh, he's done a good job for Fulham. He must be good for a top 4 side. I mean, there's loads of... let's get Sanderberg as well. I mean, I thought he was good last season. He's been average this season. I wouldn't take him. So it's Joachim, says Isaac. There you go. Phil Jones back in training. It gets worse. Varane, Anderson, and now Phil Jones. We're scraping the barrel there. We've gone from high hopes of Varane to Anderson to Phil Jones back in training. I mean, what a slide that was. Excitement, mediocrity, despair in the space of a few seconds. Morning, Mark. If we only get Varane and Rice Bissouma, which I don't think will happen, do you think we'll challenge for the title? No, Amit. I think we're a long way off the title. I said this last night. Let's talk about Dortmund. So I said this last night. If you look at the semi-finalists in the Champions League, football has evolved. I watched Bayern Munich against PSG last year, and I couldn't shut up about the benches of both teams. Forget the first teams, their benches were unbelievable of PSG and Bayern. And that was the first time I thought, well, now we're seeing a new page of football now, and we've seen it this year. Anybody who predicted Man City were going to win the league this year, spot on. I thought Liverpool were going to win it, but I just didn't think it through. You're going to play the shortest season ever, you're going to play 3 times a week. Absolutely logical that the team with the best manager and the best squad is going to win the league comfortably. And Man City have got a first team on the bench. And PSG have. And Bayern do when everyone's fit. And Chelsea have as well. 3 teams out of the last 4 in the elite tournament of the Champions League have got 2 teams. Chelsea have got a huge squad. Man City have got a huge squad. And PSG have got a huge squad. Real Madrid, not so much. But those 3 teams have basically got a bench which is better than most teams' first team. Arsenal's first team wouldn't get on Chelsea's bench. Like, that's how good Chelsea, Man City and PSG are. If you want to win a title now, you've got to have a bench that most teams can't put out as a first team. And I don't think United are anywhere near that. We've still got 3 or 4 big holes in our first team, and our bench is nowhere near good enough. So I don't think United are in a position where if they buy 2 or 3 players, they're going to win a title. We might get away. We might get away with a challenge, but I wouldn't expect a title at United, because this is what... You know, like you had Solskjaer and Woodward and Gary Neville and everyone saying this is a 3-year project. But the problem with the 3-year project is that 3-year project hasn't been the project it should have been. We didn't buy players last summer. We didn't get the players that we needed the summer before. So in that 3-year project, a 3-year project isn't let's just tick the months off on the calendar for 3 years. There's got to be progression compared to your rivals. And whilst United said 3 years ago it's a 3-year project, and there has been progress, it's not been the intense progress it needed to be. And what Man City have done over those 3 years, while we've been building our 3-year project, do you think Pep's been, writing his memoirs? No, he's been building a better squad than he had 3 years ago. You look at Man City 3 years ago and you look at it now, that bench is unbelievable. I can't believe how good their bench is. And yet we've still got holes in our first team. So we're not going to be a title-winning side when we're up against a team that's got a bench that's better than our first team. So I think this is the new football. And I think United are probably falling further behind when it comes to the big clubs. How do you impregnate, that's the wrong word, how do you penetrate the Europe's elites when they've got squads like that? If Ollie wins Europa League, a lot of pressure taken off him. If he doesn't, is there more pressure on him? So how important is that he wins the Europa League, says John. And Mark, I watched the game last night and confirmed that Haaland is a service-only striker. No service, then nothing comes from him. Mbappe is an all-round striker, says Chris Pankhurst. Well, we're going to talk about both those points because they're very, very good. First thing, I'm going to say this right now. If United finish second and win the Europa League, it could still be a shit season, because if Manchester City win the treble, I don't care what we've done. That is just pound land, lowering expectations, bullshit. And we are powerless to stop Man City winning the treble because we're not in any of the tournaments to stop them doing it. We're not in the Carabao Cup final, we're not in the FA Cup, we're not in a Premier League title race, and we're not in the Champions League. So we are hoping that somebody does us a favour because we weren't good enough to do it. This morning, that's quite a sobering thought. And look, some people will disagree with me on this one, and the reality is that some people who disagree with me on this one will be United fans that remember 99. They'll remember that season. They'll remember the tough group stage in the Champions League. They'll remember the tough knockout stage of the Champions League. They'll remember that we did it with not a huge squad. They'll remember all the away games with packed out crowds in Europe and in the Cup and in the Premier League. They'll remember going to the final day against a very good Arsenal side. They'll remember the FA Cup semi-final against Arsenal, one of the best FA Cup games there's ever been. We sweat blood and tears to win that treble. It is the most iconic thing Manchester United have ever achieved. And we're going to applaud second place in the Europa League as somebody takes away that achievement. I'm sorry, I think Liverpool winning the league last year was bad enough. But if Man City win the treble and take that away from us, I'm sorry, if you're celebrating a Poundland Champions League and second place, we're in big trouble. So at the moment, my focus as a United fan who focuses on winning, because that's what Sir Alex Ferguson taught us to do, I want to finish second and I want to win the Europa League. But do you think I'm sat here happy? But no. I'm very, very concerned that something that defines this football club, that was absolutely unbelievable to witness, is in great jeopardy because we're celebrating the Europa League in second place. So I don't think there is a good season for United to be won, no matter what we do, if Manchester City do that. Pep have had the most expensive squad in history for 5 years, but haven't won the Champions League for 10 years. He's no Ancelotti, says Oscar. Don't jinx it, Oscar. And Andy and Bruno, thanks for the super chat. Now, on to Haaland. Now, this is quite a good point raised there, and I was going to bring it up anyway because I want to talk about Dortmund. There's three strands to this. There's Sancho, Haaland, Bellingham. There's Dortmund. Dortmund are out of the Champions League. A little bit unlucky. It's amazing, isn't it, how you can have a goal chalked off because you get fouled, Bellingham in the first leg, and you can have a penalty given against you when the rules say it shouldn't be a penalty. But look, by the by, Man City were always favourites in that game. On Haaland, look, Dortmund are out of the Champions League and they're 7 points off fourth place. And they've only got 6 or 7 games left in the Bundesliga. Dortmund look like they won't have Champions League football next year. Open the doors to Dortmund if United want to do a deal, whether it's Haaland or Sancho. On Haaland, I've said this before. Some people don't want to listen to it. You know, you've got Manchester Evening News obsessed with it. You've got a lot of you obsessed with it. Get Haaland, spend all the money on Haaland. He's Ollie's obsession. I'm sorry, if Erling Haaland is Ollie's obsession, then Ollie needs to have a good look at himself in relation to what he's trying to build at United. Because to buy Erling Haaland, you are going to blow a budget we don't have, and we won't be buying anything else. We will be spending close to £200 million on one player, £150 million on fee, wages, Raiola, his dad. You're going to spend nearly £200 million on Erling Haaland. I've seen enough of Erling Haaland to know that he is a world-class striker, but he is a service striker. And United do not provide service to strikers. We don't do it. Now, what you got last night is quite an interesting stat that across the season, Bruno Fernandes has created more chances than anybody. He's created 87 chances. Grealish has created 75. And in third joint place is De Bruyne and Mount with 73. And people will say, well, we've got the player who's created the most chances in the league. So you bring Haaland in and it works. How many chances has Cavani and Greenwood and Martial missed this season that are clear-cut chances that they should have scored? Not actually that many. There isn't that many that come to mind. You know why that is? Because Bruno Fernandes plays centrally, and Bruno Fernandes isn't really the man to make chances for our striker. The striker's chance has got to come from the wing. This is Luke Shaw, Wan-Bissaka, or two of the wingers that we don't have to put decent crosses into the box. You look at Cavani's chance that he scored at the weekend, it comes from the width. We don't have wide players to create chances for a number 9. Any striker will tell you that the majority of their chances is going to come from their wingers who are going to put quicker ball or better ball into the box. We don't have the players to justify an expense of an Erling Haaland. He will get chances, but he won't get enough chances. And as we've seen against Man City, and look, Man City are the team that Manchester United are apparently going to try and topple. I watched Dortmund over 2 legs. I thought Haaland in moments looked very good, but he was isolated. And I watched that game and I thought, you know what? Are Dortmund a better footballing side than United? Well, I'll leave that with you. Are Dortmund a better side than United? I actually think United could beat Dortmund. But they couldn't provide chances to Haaland, and we wouldn't be able to either. We need to build a team first. We're talking about Varane at the start of the show. There's a lot of talk about Declan Rice. There's a lot of talk about Jadon Sancho. Those three players and those three positions are every day of the week more important than Erling Haaland at Manchester United. We've got to build a team. We can't just put the icing on a cake that's not been made. We've got to build a team. Haaland is a service striker. There's nothing wrong with that. Most strikers are. You get these exceptions. You get the Ronaldos of the world, the Neymars of the world, the Messis of the world, the Mbappes of the world. These players who can create something out of nothing. Mo Salahs, people like that, Eden Hazards. A striker, Lewandowski, Haaland, Harry Kane, they do need a lot of service. They need the ball in the danger area. And I don't think United can provide that at the moment. Not in its current form. It needs other players bringing in, and other players means money, and other players means spending that money on them instead of Haaland. If Oli don't get his signings this summer and he gets the boot, would you take Zidane? I think I was very impressed with Zidane over two legs. I actually quite wanted Zidane at United a couple of years ago. I do like Zidane. I don't know whether he'd come to Manchester United. I'm talking about Hazard when he was at Chelsea. I'm not talking about Hazard now. He's a bit crap now, isn't he? So yeah, Haaland, look, probably is going to leave. I saw the chat with Foden after the thing. So yeah, Haaland probably will leave. God, wasn't that embarrassing as well? Did you see that on social? I left it. I'm really glad I left it because I woke up this morning, it had been deleted, and it was like Man City went through and Phil Foden's Twitter account was like atting Mbappe about see you in the semi-final, trying to like a bit of a wrestling thing. Anyway, it got deleted because Foden and his family apparently were embarrassed by it because he didn't do it. He didn't put the tweet out. And this is the world you're living in, everybody. This is the world we're all living in. These footballers, I saw Gary Neville going on about it this morning. These footballers are putting tweets out that make it sound like a tweet that we'd put out, makes them sound human, and it's not them putting it. What a fraud. And I'm not talking about Phil Foden, I'm talking about what a fraud the football industry is, that they've got people putting tweets out. I don't mind promotional tweets. I don't mind the promotional tweets if it's like, oh, look at me, I'm out with Adidas and that. But putting a tweet out that looks like it's worded by the player, that then has to get deleted because the player's not happy with it. These footballers have got like people like me and you putting out their accounts. It may as well be The Salt Is Here or United Vintage or something like that. They may as well be running them accounts for them because it's like, it's not the players running them. It's social media experts putting it out saying that'll be good. And I saw Peter Crouch tweet today. There's almost like if you lose a game, really tough to take today. The players are gutted. We go again next week. They're not even putting the tweet out themselves. They're trying to. The worst thing is they're trying to appeal to us as fans. They're trying to appeal to our emotions. They're not even bloody writing it. It's Jim Bob who's in control of the Twitter account. What a joke! I fancy getting exposed like that. And it's not Foden's fault. Loads of players do it, but don't put tweets out that make it sound like it's from you and then expose yourself that it's not from you because it just blows it all apart. The fakeness of it. How hard is it for a genuine footballer to run their Twitter account? They train for a couple of hours every day and then their time is their own. Do your own bloody tweets. Haaland won't help us if he can't get the service required, and for that we need Sancho and a proper DM to help transition the play, says Shaunock. I absolutely agree with you on that one. Right, let me just talk to you about Bellingham. I thought Bellingham was absolutely superb last night, and I thought he was absolutely superb in the first leg. If Gareth Southgate doesn't put him in the midfield for England with Declan Rice, he's a big prat. I mean, I think there was some discussion about whether he'd be on the plane. He's a big prat if he doesn't put him in the team. He is one of the best midfielders in Europe at the moment. Definitely one of the best young midfielders in Europe. What a player. 17 years of age. Playing in a Champions League semi-final against a team like Man City and probably man of the match across both games. Probably. Certainly Dortmund's. Unbelievable talent. This is a player that Manchester United went for a year ago and he chose to go to Dortmund. Well done, Jude Bellingham. You made the right choice. Gutted. I live in the Midlands. I know how highly rated Bellingham was and is, and what a player he is. And he made the right decision because if he'd come to Manchester United, he would not have played for United this season. Look at Diallo. Look at Van der Beek. Look at other players like Jesse Lingard who had to go on loan. United would not have used Jude Bellingham. It would have been the total get-out clause that we use. He's doing well in training, he's adjusting well, but he's not in my favourite group. He would have been in under 23s, he might have gone on loan, or he might have got on the bench, but he would not have been a first teamer. And you look at how good he is, and you look at our midfield, you know, he's made the right decision there. I've got nothing to say about Jude Bellingham anymore about United. United blew it, they did blow it, but ultimately he made the right choice. He never should have come to United. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind that he's made the right choice going to Dortmund. I wanted him at United. God, look at him. Look at what we could have won. But we wouldn't have used him. I don't think we can ever say again, oh, we missed out on Bellingham, because we didn't miss out on Bellingham. Well, we did. We couldn't convince him to come, but we couldn't convince him to come because we're actually not that good at promoting youth. I think it's a myth. I really do. Mason Greenwood is a generational talent. Copyright. We say it on this channel all the time. I think Sam Allardyce would play Mason Greenwood for West Brom. Like the worst manager in the world for developing youth would play Mason Greenwood. So forget about him. He's a generational talent. What else have we brought through in the last 3 or 4 years? Well, McTominay sort of was Mourinho's. Rashford was Van Gaal's. Brandon Williams has disappeared. Twansebi doesn't get used. So there's Diallo's come in as a young player and hardly gets used, even though he scored as a goal. We use the same set of players all the time, and Bellingham would not have been used. So he's made the right decision. Am I disappointed? Yes. But the only way Bellingham would have worked is if we'd bought him and played him, and we were never going to do that. Can you imagine United putting a 17-year-old midfielder in the midfield? We never would have done that. So Bellingham made the right choice, but what a player. And the fact that he was at Carrington a year ago and we couldn't convince him to come, I think just shows that we sell ourselves as a club about youth, but do we actually use the youth as much as we think we do? And I think at the moment that's still an area for improvement, because we never should have missed out on Jude Bellingham. He's a 16-year-old lad at the time from Birmingham. Manchester United, the biggest club in England, invites him up. He comes out of there smiling with his mum and dad, and then he ends up in Germany. You know, we talk about our youth. He chose to go to Germany because that's where he knew he would play. We can only blame ourselves on that. And the scouting spot on by United, by the way. Let's just say United scouting and identification of talent is spot on there again. But he made the right choice. I can't say anything else. He made the right choice. Varane and Basuma or Rice and Pau Torres. Assume that budget allows only one of those two policies. I would take Varane and Basuma, because I think that the difference between Varane and Torres is massive, whereas the difference between Rice and Basuma, I think Rice is better, but it's a closer, so I would go Varane and Basuma. Interested to see what anyone else has said. And Mark, I agree, we are a whole team away from challenging City, Bayern, etc. We also need a proper structure, owners from top to bottom with a plan to sustain that challenge. The summer's going to be massive, Steve. The summer will be massive. And I think that, taking it away from transfers for a moment, Solskjaer's big thing is he's got to use his squad more. He's got to play better football. And I'd like to see him improving on the youth development as well. I don't think the youth development is that good. You take Mason Greenwood away, who I think is an obvious pick because he's so good. Where is the youth development? Like, what's happened to Brandon Williams this year? He's hardly been used. What's happened to Twansebi? And he's not really even that young anymore. We've seen Diallo, who isn't really a youth player, but we've not really used him. Palestri's gone out on loan. Shoretire, I mean, he was part of the squad, now he's not. I don't think there's a great... I think we need to do more, because we've got so many good young players. You've got to use them. And if you're not going to use them, there's no point in having them. Salah Ahmed said, what do you think Ollie's reluctance is in playing young players? I think he said it in his press conference yesterday, and I think you can use it for young players and you can use it for Van der Beek as well. Basically, the games are coming so thick and fast, you need to win them all. I've got to pick I've got to pick a team to win them all. Can't really take any risks. But is that not the inexperience of Solskjaer in a way? Because every game of Manchester United you've got to win. You go away to Burnley, you've got to win it. It's their cup final. You play bloody PSG in the Champions League, it's a big game. You play Rochdale in the Carabao Cup, they want to beat you. Every game for Man United is a big game. So you've got to be brave enough to take those risks, because if you don't take those risks, they're never going to get used and you're going to waste having them. Mark, agree we are hot. Yeah, I've done that one. Thanks very much. Which academy player do you hope will make his debut this season for us, says Subo? This season is running out fast. I'd like to see Hannibal get some game time, to be honest with you. I think he's not far off being ready, and he's very exciting. But whether he'll get it this season, hopefully if we get second place sort of nailed down, we'll have a couple of games at the end of the season where even if we lose, it won't matter, so risks can be taken. I used to get excited with United transfer news, but no more. Don't hope for something that is not going to happen, says Minnie. And just on Jadon Sancho, I don't really want to dwell on Sancho too much. Please smash a like on the video, by the way, and make sure you subscribe, bottom right hand corner. Watch along tonight. But I just want to talk about a couple of other things. On Sancho, didn't play last night, didn't play in either leg against Man City. But if they don't get Champions League football, my belief with Jadon Sancho is that a lot of clubs are going to go for Haaland. He's going to be very, very expensive. If United are quick, there's a deal that could be done there. Because Dortmund are going to need a bit of money. And you could almost knock on the door of Dortmund and say, look, we'll take Sancho off you for 70 million now. Do you want the money? And if they start saying, we want 100 million, you just say, bye, see you later, crack on with your summer. But if there is a quick deal that could be done with Sancho, he will want to leave. Dortmund might want to sell, and United do need a winger. So I would just knock on the door as soon as they've not got Champions League football and say, look, are you going to be reasonable or not? If you think we're playing a game with you all summer, no chance, because you're going to be playing a game all summer with Haaland, and I would try that. But it will be interesting to see what happens with that. Just a couple of other updates. Romano saying that Man United will sit down with Cavani again in a few more weeks to decide about his future. Fantastic interview last night. If you've not watched it, we had Per Carlson on, Norwegian journalist with TV2 from Norway. He's on every press conference. You'll recognise his voice. Yeah, he asks Ollie a question in the press conferences, every press conference now. Really interesting interview talking about Haaland, but also talking about Cavani, De Gea. He feels that both those players will go. I certainly agree with him on Cavani. I think Cavani's going to go. And I think, as I said at the start of the week, United have put themselves in a bad situation where they're basically begging people like Pogba and Cavani to stay. And that's never a good... Is it? Let me say this. If you are married... and your wife is like, I don't know whether I'm going to... Or your husband, diversity bridge. If you are married and you've had a bit of a bad year. You've sort of realised that maybe you are in love, maybe you're not. But your partner, your husband or wife, they decide that they think they want to leave you. They've not totally made their mind up yet. They're going to look at other options. They might have a bit of an affair, might go on Tinder or whatever. But they'll talk to you again in a few weeks. Do you think that is, and I know this is extreme, but do you think that if your partner is said to you, I'll come back to you in a few weeks and decide whether I want to be with you because I'm just going to go out and have a look what options there are, shake it all about a bit, do you think that is the foundation for a good future? I don't. I think that's a very obvious foundation that your marriage is over. And if they decide to leave, if they decide to stay, they're only staying because they can't find anything better at the moment. I don't think that is the stability or foundation for a team that's trying to win titles when you are basically waiting for a couple of players to decide whether they want to be with you anymore. So it's a worry. I knew it was coming with Pogba. I think we're powerless to stop that, but the Cavani situation has turned into a bad situation as well. And look, I get things wrong. I think £75 million when Liverpool bought Van Dijk and I called him the Dutch Chris Smalling. I was proved wrong on that. I was proved wrong a year ago when I said that Martial was a more complete striker than Harry Kane. I've said this many, many times that anybody who thinks that they get anything right, especially in football, is a liar. We're all hypocrites. I think one of the genius things of life is to appreciate that we're all hypocrites. We're all hypocrites. That's what human nature is. Everybody is a hypocrite because we change our minds. But on Cavani, I don't change my mind. Do I think it's been a bad deal for United? No. I think he scored some key goals. Was I unhappy with the deal at the time? Yes. Would I have done that deal at the time? No. I think we should have been better prepared. I think it was a desperate deal. And ultimately, for 1 year where he's been injured a lot, he scored some key goals, but we've left ourselves in a really stupid situation now where we're begging him to stay, and he's like, well, I'll speak to you in a few weeks. Haaland would cost over 400 million over 5 seasons. Newcastle United is cheaper to buy, says Subbo. Salah, I missed your chat there, but it was something about something there. I don't know what it was. I don't care. you, Clyde, Jose, I don't care if you call me a hypocrite. I'm not bothered. I think at least I know what life's all about. At least I know what being human is all about. If you think you shit gold and your farts don't smell, well done. You're in for a big disappointment in life. I've never met somebody that doesn't contradict themselves. And I think in this great game of football that we love, you will never find somebody that is 100% right and doesn't change their mind, because it's dynamic by its own sense. I mean, look at that penalty last night. Some people can't understand how it was a penalty. Some people are there saying that it is. On Wednesday night, a team they don't like will get given a penalty and they'll be going, oh, it's never a penalty. We're all hypocrites, especially in football. I find it hilarious that people try and profess to be geniuses. I've never met anybody, ex-player, pundit, referee, fan, I've never met anybody that's even been close to me saying they're right all the time. Because no one is. And that's what the United Stand exists for. Because I haven't got a blue tick, I'm not a journalist, I'm not an ex-player, haven't got a script in front of me. It's a United fan channel that started 5.5 years ago with a few fans going live on a Sunday night with about 10 people watching, just giving our opinions. And it's never changed. If you don't like what's said on this channel, don't watch it. Don't profess to know everything. Don't profess to be in the know. Don't profess to know absolutely everything about what's going on in football or transfers or what player's going to be a success or not. It's an opinion. It's a fan channel, and that's exactly what it should be. And you can go and cry your bitter tears about it for as long as I like. Cry buckets, because this channel's got 1 million subscribers. It's got a fantastic community. And you're just bitter because you can't stand it that you never thought about doing it yourself, or you're not good enough to do it yourself. So cry away. Varane, Basuma or Koundé or Rice, which is better, says Salam Ahmed. Varane or... Ooh. That's a good one. Live comments, what do you think? Would you take Varane, Basuma or Koundé, Rice, which is better? I'd go Varane, Basuma, I would. I think Varane is so much the elite centre-back that it would have to be a big drop-off for me not to take him, Salah, realistically. Yeah, if you're joining us a little bit late, Manchester United are apparently in advanced talks with, I nearly said Sergio Ramos, Rafael Varane, and he will be leaving Real Madrid. As I said, I do not believe this will happen. I don't think Manchester United's board are anywhere near competent enough to do this. I am mocking that board quite publicly. I want them to prove us wrong. But I do not think that Man United's board is anywhere near competent enough to get Rafael Varane to come to Manchester United. I think we'll end up with some 5th, 6th choice that Man City or Liverpool or PSG wouldn't go anywhere near. We will pretend that this is a player who is better, that's going to be better. You don't close gaps on teams better than you by making the gap bigger. You don't. You're just making the jump bigger, aren't you? You know, we need to bring in quality players. What if Eric Bay wouldn't get hurt much? Would he play more? Says Jack. Well, I don't know about that, Jack, but if Eric Bay had a good injury record, I wouldn't sell him. I still think he's probably one of our best centre-backs at the club. Yeah, I do. I really, really do. Varane won't play in the Europa League. Neither will we, Akshat. How are Manchester United going to be in the fucking Europa? I mean, so, you know, some people, they actually type this nonsense. They actually type it without thinking. Akshat probably supports Arsenal. Like, he probably supports a club that might not even be in Europe next year. Varane won't come to United to play Europa League football. We're not going to be in the Europa League next year. We're in the Champions League, guaranteed. We're 7 points clear of 3rd place in 2nd. We're not going to be in the Champions League next year. I can't believe people type this shit. Check the Premier League before you start mocking us. I know we're in the Europa League now, but we will be in the Champions League next year. Guaranteed. Absolutely guaranteed. I find it funny. I was having this chat on That's Football yesterday, and I've got to say this now. I was doing That's Football yesterday, and I've got obviously get a lot of people who are not United fans on there, which is fine because I'm not watching United. And the stick they were giving Solskjaer, they were going, Solskjaer's crap, Solskjaer's football's dead, Solskjaer's a joke. And I'm like, you might have a point about the football we play. We're 2nd in the league. We're 7 points clear, and we're 2nd in the league. And we've had over 30 games. There is no better gauge of who the best teams are in England than 38 games. Man United are the 2nd best team in England. Let those tears burn you. We are the 2nd best team in England. Even United fans, there'll be United fans screaming about this. He's talking out his arse. I cannot give you anything more factual than the Premier League season is the best way to gauge who the best teams are in that country over a calendar year. Manchester United are the 2nd best team in England. I don't like the football. I don't think we rotate enough. I don't think we use the youth enough. But we are the second best team in England. Yes, it's been a really shit season. That's not the real Liverpool. We've only seen the real Chelsea for about 3 months. Spurs are a joke. Arsenal are banter. Leicester are inconsistent. Man City is superb. But all right, Man City is superb, but we're the best of the rest. And people talk about it like we're mid-table and we're not going to be in Europe next year. Like, our standards are high. But what we're talking about is we're going to finish second. We're going to be in the Champions League. We need a good summer and we need to play better football next year. It's not miles away. Like I said, you look at some clubs and I'm like, well, Spurs have got a very horrible future. What's going to happen to Arsenal? Chelsea looking good. Liverpool will be better next year. Man City are obviously going to be strong. But we're not in a terrible situation. We need to be in a better situation, but we're not in a terrible situation. And it's funny how some people try and dress this up as a terrible season for United, when actually it could be if City win the treble. But really, we are in a position where we're we are second best, which for United over the last 8 years is way better than we normally are. But look, we need to be better. But the amount of teams, the amount of rivals and the amount of fans of our own club who talk about us like we're in a bloody crisis, it's not really a crisis. There's just that there is improvement. Bruno got most of our points, but hey, help United. Bruno for Ballon d'Or, says Andy and Bruno. And we need to buy... No, not read that. Mark asks about, think our coaching team can make Declan Rice a box-to-box player. Do you believe coaching staff can do it? Says Edvin. Declan Rice has got the ability to be a box-to-box player because he's a very good technical footballer if you watch him. But we don't need a box-to-box player. We need a CDM. Zed Jamie says Bellingham played in the Championship and went to play for Dortmund at 17. What, in your opinion, is different with Garner? As you say, he isn't ready. You know what? With Garner, you make a great point there. Garner's like 2 years older, 3 years older than Bellingham. So you make a great point. But I think Bellingham he's a bit like a Rooney in midfield. He's a bit of a generational talent, I suppose. Like that, it's not normal what he's doing to be playing Champions League football against some of the best midfielders in the world at 17 is abnormal. It's like what Rooney was doing. So Bellingham comparison to Garner's unfair because Bellingham is, there won't be many players like Bellingham. But Garner, I like Garner. I think he's a fantastic player. But I think his trajectory is going to be a little bit different to Jude Bellingham. I don't see him playing in the midfield for Manchester United next season. I think he needs a season in the Premier League. And there's talk about him going abroad or going to Scotland. I don't think that helps him. He's going to be a Premier League player for Man United. That's the hope. He's done the Championship, now play him in the Premier League. And I think Brighton would be perfect for him because of the way they play football. The reason I don't think he'd play for Man United is partly because I don't think Solskjaer would use him anyway. I think Solskjaer has proven that he will not throw a player in and play them consistently. So I think even if Garner comes back to United, he won't get used. So part of the reason I think that Garner needs a loan as well, I think he's good. I think he's very good. But he needs, the next year, he needs to play first-team football. And he won't play first-team football at United. Solskjaer won't throw him in. By his own admission, he doesn't want to take risks. So he won't do it. So Garner needs to get in the United team. I think you need to establish yourself as one of the best Premier League midfielders without being at Man United. So that's why I think he needs the loan. Thanks for the contribution, Josh. And thanks for all the love in the live comments, by the way. Please smash a like on the video. Mark, you think Bellingham would have signed if Sir Alex Ferguson was still boss? Yes, Andy Bruno. And Mark, please get rid of Zayn. He ruins these videos, says Ryan. I haven't even seen Zayn today. I've not even seen him. United will win the league double next season, the Prem and the FA Cup for a fact, says V. And also, okay, that's brilliant. Okay, well, I'm going to end it there. We've got the watch along tonight. I'm looking forward to the watch along tonight because it's not over. The game is not over. 2-0, it should be over. It would be a major shock if we don't win. But we have got changes. Twansebi will play at centre-back because we've got no Bailly and Maguire. We've got no Luke Shaw. Got no Scott McTominay. Rashford didn't train yesterday. I bet he'll pick him, but he shouldn't do. If he doesn't, then that's another player out. Very interested to see how we're going to line up. Very excited to see a bit of rotation. It's amazing, isn't it? This game really should be done, but I'm excited about it because we're going to see a bit of rotation. I think it gets a bit boring with the same players, so I'm actually excited to see a little bit of rotation. So looking forward to that. We'll be live around 6:30 for an 8 o'clock kickoff. Obviously team news coming in and all the chat around that. Make sure you download the Flick app. The link's in the video description for that. United Stand app, really, where you can just chat away with everybody. and have your say. I will tell you what we're doing on the poll at the moment. There's a poll on there voting for the centre-back you think Manchester United will sign. There are a number of options. Let me just tell you what we've got on here at the moment. So the vote is for Varane, Koundé. Well, the winners at the moment are Varane, Koundé and Torres. Cast your vote on there and I will tell you the result of that vote when we get to the match tonight. So download it, get involved with the chat on Flick. It's free on Apple and Android. And I'll see you later. Thanks everyone for watching.